Ooh, what's up guys, Nandra here. Gonna show you part 2 of my Dawn of the Dragon video. All three of these games are gonna be versus Mid Shadow. Mid Shadow is a matchup that a lot of people will tell you is unfavored for Dragon. I do believe that that's kind of the case in professional play. However, as far as ladder play goes, it can go either way. But it is conditional on how greedy do you get in your mulligan, as well as how good is the mid shadow player. Because a bad mid shadow player is like really bad, as you'll see in some of these videos. However, a good mid shadow player, like for example, people who are at like 16k plus master, those players are actually usually really good. So versus Shadow, you want to try to get a pretty good mulligan for your low drops, just because Mid Shadow as a deck, it punishes decks like Dragon that can occasionally have awkward curve turns. Like for example, on 8 mana, Dragon only really has like Ouroboros for a curve play, or for example on 7, or even on like turn 9 or whatever, and it punishes you if you don't have the good play for that turn, because Dragon first and foremost is a control deck. So I'm mulliganing everything away. I get a really good hand. I get Blazing Breath plus Oracle. This is really nice, because if he has a turn 1 Skull Beast like he does, then I can go ahead and Blazing Breath it away. I can play Oracle right after. I draw a second Oracle, which is actually nice. I draw the Sybil too. So this is a hand in which I already have a 3-ramp possibility, and that's pretty good, just because it means that I can see enough cards and live for long enough that if I like draw Bahamut, that I just like win on the spot, or if I draw like Israfil on 7, that I can just like win. So I went ahead and paused this turn. Specifically this turn, because my opponent misplayed hard here. There is 100% no reason to ever play Shadow Reaper as a 2-drop. You want to try to combo it on 4 as Mid Shadow, because you want to try to go. You want to try to use it as a combo piece. You don't want to develop it as the only card on your board. You want to develop it when you have other stuff on your board and your opponent has stuff on his board they can crash into on that same turn. Just because a Shadow Reaper, when it gets out of hand, it gets out of hand very fast, and it is actually hard for a lot of decks to clear it once it gets past 4 or 5 HP. Just because there's not much that really goes above 4 or 5 HP as far as like attack damage goes, and it's especially hard for Dragon once it gets past like 5 or 6, just because most times you as Shadow you'll usually have something else on the board, and that's important, just because, well, the Dragon player had to use up all these resources just to kill one guy when there are still 4 other guys on the board. But yeah, so this turn I'm going to go Oracle. Ideally, I would like to have Fervor on 5, just because his hand is kind of weak, and I want to try to fish for Israfil. He plays the Grimnir. The Grimnir is important because that signifies to me that, okay, well, he's slow Ektar, so there's a chance that I might not get immediately punished for like skipping this turn. And here he just goes in and like floods the board. If he has Catacombs next turn, then I lose. But if he doesn't, then I'll be in a good spot. I draw the Fervor. However, he develops the second Grimnir, and the second Grimnir is important because what I had wanted to do next turn was I wanted to maybe try to rip Israfil off the top, so I could go Saha Israfil and clear his entire board before his Reapers gain any value from it. However, now I do not have that option because he has a second taunt in the way. And the taunt is relevant because it's at 3 HP, Israfil on attack will only deal 2 damage. So what will happen is my Israfil will clear off one Grimnir. My Sahako will clear off the second one, as well as the Reaper and the Soul Splasher. However, the Reaper that was left untouched will be a 7-1. Or sorry, not 7-1. A 7-5. Like that's insane. So what I would like to do this turn is to try to capitalize on the fact that he's board locked. Just because Shadow is ironically at their weakest when they're board blocked, because the majority of their deck is creatures, and the really impactful creatures that they have require them to have an open space. So obviously, if they don't have an open space, then they can't play stuff like Ektar, or they can't play stuff like Catacombs and whatnot. And you actually get, weirdly enough, versus Dragon, a little bit of breathing room. Like, yes, you're going to take a lot of damage. However, Dragon also has a lot of AoE. Like, I already have quite a bit more mana. Oops. And this turn, because he already has that developed board, what I want to do this turn is to not let his Reaper get any additional value, because like Reaper rewards the Shadow player for trading. The more trades that they make while Reaper's on the board, the more compounded value that the Reapers get, because you basically just kind of like transfer stats of the destroyed minion to the Reapers, especially for this game, because he has double Reaper on the board. So because I ripped the Fervor off the top, what I want to do this turn is I want to go ahead and take a very, very risky gamble, and I want to go ahead and Fervor here. I know a lot of you are like, okay, well, why not just go Sybil? You don't want to go Sybil because he already has 5 dudes on the board, and the Sybil can only clear off one of them. But then he'll just go ahead and play a dude, and just go ahead and Evo said dude into Sybil, as well as his other 2 guys, and then the Reaper will do, I think, even more damage actually. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Both Reapers will be would have the ability to do 10 extra damage this turn, and that would actually be enough to kill me. So I need to try to hit. So I need to try to take the gamble that, okay, well, after I do this play, because obviously I'm gonna be ramping so I can drop Bahamut. That after I do this play, that he doesn't have 2 extra damage to kill me. So basically that he doesn't have exactly Lesser Mummy, Cerberus, or Phantom Howl to kill me. And it's important to try to play your outs. So I go ahead and ramp, and I just pass. So with his current board state, he can deal 12 to me with an Evo. However, he does not Evo. This is actually important because he chose not to Evo. It now makes it now removes Cerberus from his pool of, okay, well, if he gets this, he can kill me. He now has to have exactly Lesser Mummy, which he probably doesn't have because he's slow Ektar, or exactly Phantom Howl to kill me. So I have a Bahamut on the board. The Bahamut generates a lot of pressure. He has Immortal Thane. As I said, he's slow Ektar, so it's most likely he's going to have this. And then this turn, I still have to stay. I still have to stay on the same track that I was last turn, in which okay, well, maybe he's not going to top that Phantom Howl and his spare still off on cards. What I had wanted to do was I had wanted to maybe either see Israfil, which would just like won me the game because it would push me just 1 out of Phantom Howl range, or had him develop a board state that would allow me to go double Sybil and then Evo one of the Sybils, so that way I would heal back up to 10. But yeah, with this board state, I have to basically just play. I have to play the Grimnir, and I have to Evo the Grimnir. The Grimnir will be nice because the Grimnir is a ward, and will be alive at 2 HP, or sorry, 1 HP. And that'll be nice because that prevents him from any like YOLO like storm minions from killing me, because he'll have to use an Evo or damage spell to get rid of the Grimnir, and then an Evo. So now if he does for some reason have Lesser Mummy, he'll now need to have Lesser Mummy plus Zombie Party. And so basically, like the possible outs for him to win this game now are suddenly massively diminished, and he's basically just like praying for exactly one card to save him. And that's not a spot you want to be in versus Dragon. Because next turn I'll have lethal no matter what happens. So here he plays with Awakening, which is a good sign for me. And then he plays out the Zombie Party, so yeah, we win. Ooh, awesome. That was a pretty scary game. But yeah, an important takeaway from that game was that the entire game I literally gave neither of his Reapers any value whatsoever, so they just stayed as a 1/1 and a 3/3 respectively. Additionally, I showed that every now and then you need to realize what your outs are, and you need to try to play to your outs as much as possible, both from his end and from my end. If he had evoed anything on the board, sure, it would have gone Bahamutid, because that's what's telegraphing. However, that still would have been fine, just because he would have had like two more additional cards for lethal, instead of just like being restricted to one card for lethal. Alright, so now we're gonna go to the second game. Alright, so here I get the Blazing Breath. I go and keep that. I'll pitch the other two away. I get an Oracle. This is nice because this is almost reminiscent to the hand I had last game. Yeah, Skull Beast. Again, I'm going to go ahead and clear off the Skull Beast just because I want to play Oracle next turn. And my hand gets even better with the second Oracle. However, I might not play the second Oracle just because I do want to be able to reload when possible. He misses his turn 2, which is huge. But he plays a Tentative Knight, which is a problem. A Tentative Knight is a tech versus Dragon, so the reason why it works is because it discourages the Dragon player from wanting to play stuff like Rahab or Grimnir to protect his space, just because if you do so, then they'll just crash the Attendant, and then they get a then they get a 4/4 Lich. And that's especially hard for me with the hand that I have right now, because I had wanted to try to Breath of the Salamander in a turn or two, but now I no longer have that option, because if I do, I just like unleash the 4/4 Lich, who has the ability to go up to a 6/6 with an Evo. And he does have the Bone Chimera, which makes his board even more sticky. And if he has a Reaper here, and if he has a Reaper next turn, that could be in a lot of trouble. He plays up the Skull Beast too. Alright, so this turn is, I don't know. It's actually a slight misplay on my part, I believe. One thing that I could have done is because I knew that I was going to go Saha Israfil next turn. Something that I could have done is I could have gone Illyrial, ping the skeleton, or sorry, not skeleton, ping the Attendant and then Evo into the Lich, as well as Oracle, or I could just, still take the same line, but instead of like Lariel plus Evo, instead just ping the Skeleton Knight, or sorry, not Skeleton Knight, the Bone Chimera. But either line is fine. However, with the line that I proposed first, that opens me up to that more so opens me up a little bit to Shadow Reaper, and if he has double Shadow Reaper here, that could be in trouble. So I Oracle because again, on turn 7, or not turn 7, on 7 mana, I want to be able to go Saha Israfil and just clear up like everything that's on the board. Here he could have Cerberus, but if he has Cerberus, that just like makes this like more like rewarding for me. But instead he has Prince Catacombs. He snap Evas the Catacombs. Okay. On this turn, I did misplay. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about something else. One thing that's important when you play cards that give out free information to your opponent is that if you have multiple of the same card, this might be like a little like nuance for people. However, if you have 2 copies of the same card, but one is animated and one is not, then it's really important that whatever version of the card you touch first. So, for example, if you touch the animated card, that when you go ahead and you would play the card for real, that you want to play out whatever card it was that you touched first. The reason why you want to do that is because you give out more free information to your opponent by playing out the one that you did not touch first. Because if your opponent is good, then they're going to realize, okay, well, this guy, okay, well, he has a second copy of this card in his hand. And they can maybe play around that. You want to give your opponent as little as possible to play around, just because the less they know about your hand, the better for you. Especially if you're a control player, just because less information revealed means like more things that they might inadvertently play into, and that might reward you for keeping such a thing hidden. Alright, so I do misplay this turn, because the attendant was a 1/1, and because I had like just woken up when I played this game. I don't actually clear off the 4/4. I kind of misclick and clear off a 1/1, just because in my head I just kind of like assume that they're like all skeletons, because I temporarily went like Skella blind. but the correct play was in fact to hit the Lich with the Israfil. So instead I kind of hit nothing, but I do pop all the skeletons though, or sorry, all of the first round of skeletons. However, I can get punished here because I'll be taking at least 6 to 8 damage. He misplays slightly. He should have just soul converted a skeleton, so that way he would get an additional card. But here, I go ahead and I go Breath of Salamander. I have Israfil next turn, so he doesn't have any Cocos and Mimis yet, so I won't be dead to Phantom House shenanigans. Alright, now here, alright, so you see me play the Israfil that I touched first. I go ahead and Evo. The Evo is important just because if he has Ektar this turn, then the me not Evoing the Israfil would be a problem, because he could go ahead and push 8, and then have the 2 zombies clear off the Israfil, and then his Ektar would be behind a ward. So at least this way, I kind of force him to I kind of like discourage him from like wanting to do that. He could still do it if he wanted to, but then like it would drain all of his shadows. He would only be going face for 4, and yeah, and that could just like Bahamut away his board next turn. This turn he hard floods the board. I didn't actually like this play that much because it was going into my turn 10. In turn 10, that's when Bahamut comes out. That's when Grimnir comes out. And that's when I get like full access to the full range of my capabilities. I didn't like it just because the Israfil was guaranteed to 100% clear everything out, clear the first half of whatever was on the board. So if he was going to do that, he needed to do that after the Israfil died. But instead he does it right now. So if I were to, like, for example, have Grimnir here, then he would be dead. The play I'm looking at right now, because my hand being the way it is to potentially go Israfil attack into Bahamut. Just so that way I perfectly clear his board. He's up to 23 shadows when I do that. However, he'll need to have either a second Death Breath, or he'll need to have Ektar in order to swing the board save back to being a neutral. So he goes face for 2. However, I draw the Sahakville, and that blows him out. Like, he wasn't expecting a second Israfil, so now I just go ahead and clear out the first body with the Sahakville. Or sorry, not the Sahakville, with the animated Israfil, and then I get to go face for 12, and then that clears out the second round of skeletons. That drops him down to 2, and now he needs to have exactly Ektar to not be dead. However, he's at 2 HP, and his first Ektar will not be going face. He doesn't draw the Ektar, and so he just concedes. Alright, time for game 3. Alright, so I keep the Oracle, I keep the Breath of the Salamander. The reason why it was important to keep the Oracle is because he might end up being like the last Shadow player who missed the turn 2, and if that happens, I'm good. And you keep the Breath of the Salamander just because, well, it's Breath of the Salamander is really core in this matchup, but both early and mid game, just because it's single target that also doubles AoE, and that's also nice because, you know, roll compression. Here, I play out the Dragoon Scyther. Dragoon Scyther doesn't really have like that much value in the Shadow matchup, so you can usually just play it as a 2/2 when you're able. So here, I go ahead and clear out the Lyriel. I didn't Breath of the Salamander here, just because I wanted, just because I was trying to play around Orthrus. And I also wanted to hold it because I had Sybil next turn, so I was gonna smooth transition me to my later stages of the game. Because right now I have a play for this turn, a play for next turn, a play for the turn after that, and then I have the Zeus slash Grimnir. Those are both really important because, like, right now in my hand I already have 11 damage from Zeus to face, Grimnir for 4, and then Israfil for 2. And so right now, like, I'm in a pretty strong position. He actually did not see any shadows whatsoever early. So here when I go Sybil plus Evo, that's gonna put him in an awkward spot because he's going to need to have Zombie Party, which I don't think he has, or he's going to need to play something small to Evo into my Sybil, to stop me from healing, and then have a pretty, like, fairly weak development turn, and then whatever he plays, I can just go ahead and mop it all up with Saha Israfil, and then if he plays anything else, I can go Israfil again on 9, and but basically right now, I'm in the driver's seat. So I go and clear off the widow. I go ahead and heal for 3. And here, he kind of misplays. So he could have played Cerberus, correct? However, look at the board state. Even if he ignores Sybil and he goes space, Sybil can still clear off something, and or if I have AoE, I can clear off 2 things. And then also get to heal for 3. So he did need to take a weak turn here and just give me an Evo with something else. Or conversely, use his 1/2, evolve that and hit the Sybil, so that way he would have a stronger remaining board state. However, he goes like full brain dead here, evolves the Cerberus, and then trades into the Sybil. That was all kinds of bad. I don't even know. But yeah, so this turn I go Saha for Zeus. This is important because you want to try to push whatever damage you can early, so that way when you're you lower the amount of turns that you need to be pushing damage instead of lethal. Because a pretty core card in this matchup is Bahamut, and generally when you get Bahamut down, you usually need at least 2 turns with the Bahamut to win. However, with this, because I'm going face, that now means that when Bahamut comes down, if I have a Grimnair to follow it up with, that means that I just automatically win. So it's also important to ignore this 1/2 because it's only a 1/2. Look at the shadow count. He has 3 shadows. Ideally on 6 they would want to go into Death's Breath. However, I already know that 2 of the cards in his hand are Coco and Mimi, and that his other 6 cards must be either possibly Ektars or possibly Thanes, but just they're like not impactful basically. So I don't need to be afraid of this board just yet, because I also have healing from Israfil next turn. So if he floods out with anything, I'm just going to go Israfil plus Evo to use my last Evo to heal for 4, to heal almost back up to full, and then also clear his board. Alright, now here, he misplays again somehow. I don't know why he did this in this order. If he was going to play, alright, so he knew he was going to play Cerberus, correct? One thing that he should have done is he should have gone Coco first on the Orthrus, so that way he could go Orthrus, Evo, and hit my face for 5. Or conversely, as you'll see in a second, he could have just played out his second Skull Beast. Coco and Mimi are pretty important in the Dragon matchup, just because like as I said before, sometimes people don't really think about the amount of revealed information that you give them. So generally, the more Cocos and Mimis that you have in your hand or whatever, the more paranoid that you might make the Dragon player. The Dragon player isn't like paying attention just because like they artificially inflate your hand and they make your hand seem a lot more threatening than it might actually be. But yeah, like so he plays up the Skull Beast, and here like he misplays again. So if you were afraid of this board state, you would 100% go Evo Cerberus to clear out the Sahak wheel, and then push 1 with the Orthrus. Or conversely, you could ignore the Sahak wheel altogether. You can go Orthrus Evo face to put me down to 13. He has 3 Coco / Mimi in his hand. That would be... So if I full clear this board, but I don't heal or anything like that, I would still be dead to Phantom Hell, I believe. Yeah. I would still be dead to Phantom Hell. So, he needed to do one or the other, but not this. So, he evos the Skull Beast, and I'm just like, is he gonna? Why did he evo this? And then so he could trade into I don't. Yeah, he literally just throws away damage for no reason. I don't understand that. However, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with his hands, so I just gonna play it safe for now. I don't want to just play off the Israfil naked. I want the Israfil to be getting damage into his space, as well as full clearing his board whenever I play it. There is merit to me this turn to me playing out Israfil plus Blazing Breath. However, I wanted him to Ektar or something like that first, or maybe play Zombie Party before I did this, just because the longer that I hold the Israfil, the more likely that I am to get additional value out of it. I also didn't want to get my Israfil Soul Squashered, just because Israfil is really important to being able to clear off an Ektar board, unless I have Bahamut, which I don't have at the moment. But I also push enough damage with this that this Grimnir is able to hit face, then I can win next turn with Zeus. Or not next turn, but the turn after. Alright, so he has the second Death Breath here, and I'm kind of sad because I actually wanted him to have Zombie Party, but this is still fine too, because for this matchup, the cards I fear most are Death Breath, Ektar, Phantom Howl, and occasionally like Cerberus, and I guess Reaper too. But he's already used two of his Death's Breaths, and he doesn't have the shadows to set up a third one, even if he does have it. And if he does, he'll just be completely out of shadows altogether, and that'll be really good for me, because it means that when his Ektar comes out, his Ektar won't be nearly as terrifying as say if he had like 9 shadows, or if he had like 15 shadows or something crazy like that. So he plays up the Soul Squasher. This turn's really good for me because I can now use the Israfil that I held back for so many turns to go Blazing Breath into Israfil, into Evo Israfil, into trade with into double trade into getting a full cleared board, while developing while keeping a 2-1 and a 10-2 on the board. Oh, sorry, not a 10-2, a 10-8 on the board. I'm sorry about that. This is also important because the Israfil is behind a ward, so even if for example he did have Ektar, the Ektar wouldn't quite be able to clear it off without like a lot of resources thrown in. But here he just goes in and concedes. Alright, so these games were just to quickly show you that versus bad players you can win. However, additionally, most times when you see people who are net decking a list, most times a lot of those people are bad, but like they usually only play the net deck because, okay, well, it wins and they want to win. However, people don't often put in the amount of time and effort required to learn a deck to the fullest, and a lot of times you can go and punish this, like especially with Shadow, because I don't know, people like tend to mess up stuff like board placement as well as how to like value trade, and also how to correctly push damage and play around cards that you know that your opponent plays. And yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and leave a like if you didn't, and then go ahead and tell me why in the comments, and just leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching.